All right, Shalom. It says we live. Let's check the feed real quick. Bear with us, and we'll get rolling. All right, we're live. Hey, Shalom out there.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Hey, we are the brothers of Great Millstone Charlotte, back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakak Quadash. All right, and before we get started, we want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, we're back with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakak Quadash, and we pray that this live lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect out there, you sincere brothers and sisters that believe. All right, we want to get into this topic here. Came across a few videos that kind of sparked my interest, that got the spirit flowing. The title of the show here is Blaming Jake and Shifting the Narrative Will Not Default His Judgment. All right, so no matter what these devils do, as you see, and we've been talking about this for the past couple of days, you know, Jake is in the forefront of all the things that are going wrong in America. All right, and they're running with that shit to try to justify themselves to basically, it's a form of them deflecting accountability. All right, deflecting the responsibility for their actions to maintain that Edomite, you know, supremacy mindset. You know, that so-called, you know, racial hierarchy. You know, to keep that Edomite ideology flowing, if you will. So with that, I want to get this word default, because again, no matter what these devils do, they're not going to get out of judgment. All right. So blaming Jake and shifting the narrative will not default his judgment. Here's the word for default. Pull that up. So that word default, it means it says failure to fulfill an obligation, especially to repay a loan or appear in the court of law. You know, and that's spiritual, man. Okay. Matter of fact, can you get Ecclesiastes 3:15? And I'll pull it up.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and verse 15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past.
You can speak, brother.
Right. So they have to, you know, make that payback, man. Right. The Lord is going to vindicate. He's coming to collect, right, on all the wickedness that Esau has perpetrated throughout the earth, man.
That's right.
They think that they've been able to get away scot-free because they've been given carte blanche to do whatever they feel in the earth, but they didn't consider their latter end, man. Right. And now we're seeing that as they're getting backed into that corner, right, they're being shown, right, the coming judgment that they're about to receive.
That's right. And there's no escaping. Mm-hmm. Right. Let's see if there's any more. And I'll grab one more precept, and then we'll get into the videos and articles and bring it all together. All right. And Lord willing, it's all edifying, you know. So again, this word default, a failure to fulfill obligation, especially to repay a loan or appear in the court of law. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, so that's the point. So let's get this scripture in Psalm, because we just read Ecclesiastes 3:15. Okay, let's get that one in Psalms 10. And if you could read it for me, this is Psalms 10 and 11.
It's the book of Psalm, chapter 10 and verse 11. He hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it.
Yeah, and that's really the mindset of a lot of Edomites, man. All right, all Edomites. Okay, that, you know, what was done to us was the past. Let bygones be bygones. Get over it. All right, it wasn't me. Okay, you weren't there in slavery. You know, all these you know, basically Esau's greatest hits.
Right.
All right, he's gonna come with that, man. Okay, and this is how they feel in their mind, that the Most High has forgotten their past crimes and atrocities. All right, he hideth his face; they will never see it. Keep reading now.
Verse 12: Arise, O Lord, O power, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble.
Yeah, the Lord is not going to forget his people, man. He hasn't forgot. He hasn't, as we read in Ecclesiastes 3:15, man. He requires which happened in the past. Okay, keep going.
Wherefore doth the wicked contemn the Most High, he had said in his heart, thou wilt not require it.
Which is surely not the case. Okay, and Esau really wants to believe that, you know, what happened in the past, he's not going to pay for it now. They really want to believe that. This is why they're pushing. This is why they're shifting the blame. Okay, niggas are the problem. And as we're going to go into, as we said, you know, we understand that these 2/3 niggas are a problem, but they're not the problem. Okay, it's bigger than you know, fucking gang violence and niggas killing each other in the hoods and robbing people and things like that. We're talking about the Edomites, you know, being responsible for bringing the world to corruption, man. The immorality, the wars, okay, the as we talk about a lot, the trafficking of children, the PDF files, okay, all these different things, the pushing of homosexuality, Satanism, all right, and the list goes on. So again, he can't run away from his crimes. Let's keep reading. Read out the chapter.
Okay.
Or read down to 15.
Okay. Psalm 10 and verse 13. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn the Most High? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. The poor contemneth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless.
Yeah, thou art the helper of the fatherless. The fatherless represents you tribes, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Hispanics. Okay, see, the Lord didn't forget any of these things that our people have gone through, man, and are currently going through. Okay, the slavery, the genocide, the redlining, okay, the oppression, the disenfranchisement. All right, everything, man. Okay, let's finish it out. Let me go back up. Go ahead.
Psalm 10 and 15. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none.
There you go. And this is what we're going to go into. All right. And in this lesson, we're going to point these things out. We're going to point out the hypocrisy, the audacity, all right, of these of so-called white America, man. You can finish out the 18. I didn't know it was that short. You got it out.
Verse 16. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. The Lord, thou hast heard, he does the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress.
You got it out.
Right. So the Lord is hearing our cries, man. Right. He's seeing the state that we're in, you know, and it's going to come to a point, right? All these things are coming to a head, right? To where he's going to remove all wickedness out of the earth, man. As Esau has spread himself as that green bay tree, right? The institution of the Edomite hegemony has crept its way into every facet of life, man. Right. So it has to be, you know, uprooted from the bottom, man. Right. And this is what we're seeing take place.
That's right, bro. Let's get into it. All right. Bear with me. All right. So priest hop on about 5 minutes. All right, cool. So let's get into it.
Let's talk about how the white church in America worships death instead of Jesus by sacrificing black and brown bodies on the altar of law and order. Hi, I'm Colton. I grew up a Pentecostal pastor's kid, went to school to get degrees in historical Christian theology. And when I say they worship death, what I mean is they've submitted themselves to the policies of mass incarceration, police violence, and state power as if they were the will of God. There's an American writer, attorney, and civil rights activist named Michelle Alexander, who wrote an incredible book called The New Jim Crow: Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. And in this book, she shows that how after the victories of the civil rights movement, that America didn't end the racial state. Instead, it just reinvented it. She shows how politicians, especially Nixon and Reagan, needed a way to roll back black freedom without sounding openly racist. That's where the law and order rhetoric came in. Crime became the new code word for race. And the machinery that enforced this was the war on drugs. Alexander shows how it gave police the opportunity and license to sweep through entire neighborhoods, stopping, frisking, and arresting people, and essentially funneling black men into cages for nonviolent drug offenses at wildly disproportionate rates to white people, even though drug use is about the same across races. So what essentially happened is that segregation gave way to incarceration. Instead of seeing signs that say whites only, we got a criminal justice system that locks up black people at rates so high, it resegregated entire communities. America actually found another way to exile black men from society by calling them criminals. Alexander calls this the new Jim Crow, not just because prisons exploded in size, but because once you're branded a felon, you lose all the same rights that black people lost under Jim Crow. You can't vote. You can't serve on juries. You're shut out from housing, education, and jobs. One conviction, even for something minor, marks you for life. Today, more black men are under correctional control than were enslaved in 1850.
Yeah, that's why this system, as he's talking about, this American system is regarded as the pit. This is the place of death. All right, this is the place of our captivity. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Read for me out Jeremiah, was it 50 and 33?
Yeah.
Yeah, read that real quick.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. It reads, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go."
Yeah, so again, the children of Israel and the children of Judah, right? Let's go to the image. The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Where? Right here in Babylon. Okay, this is where you have the majority of the tribes located. Okay, so this is prophecy. This prophecy details Babylon the Great, America. This is where we're oppressed to this day. Okay, so again, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together right here in this system, in this pit here, man. Right, keep reading that.
Okay, so I get.
And it's like, and it said, and all that took them captives held them fast, and it says they refused to let them go. That's going back to the Edomites, man. Okay, we're still in captivity unto this day. Go ahead.
It reads verse 34. "The Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon."
Yeah, Yahweh Shai, he's going to plead our cause. He's going to deliver his elect. Okay, he's going to destroy Babylon the Great. He's going to destroy America in due time. Okay, you want to add in there?
Con, I wanted to get this real quick.
Yeah.
So out here. In Nahum.
Mm-hmm. Nahum 3:1.
Con.
Yeah, that's the spirit. I got you.
Because like you said, Jake has been trapped in this miry pit, man. Right? They've been trapped in that mud, this decrepit state because of this devil, man. Right?
Right.
Everything that they've put in place has been a snare and a trap, right? To keep you downtrodden, man.
That's right, bro.
This is let me just go pull it up here. So Nahum 3:1. "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." Because as we went into camp yesterday, right, that blood has to be repaid, man. Right, the death and bloodshed that Esau Edom has perpetrated, right, of the tribes, but everybody on earth at this point, man, right, has felt the wrath of that sword that he was blessed with, man.
That's
so
right.
now, we're seeing Jake coming to the understanding that they're in this trap, man. Right, they've been locked away in this cage of Babylon the Great.
Yep. Hey, Shalom, priest. Yabashim Washab Bashim Kirkadas Brakatah.
Shalom. Yabashim Ashab Bashim Kirkadas Brakatam.
Shalom. All right. I got one more. Priest, you want to chime in on anything real quick? I got one more precept and we'll go back.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Let's add on to that Nahum 3:1. This is Habakkuk 2:12. All right, so this is the book of Habakkuk 2:12. It says, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity." And how was America established? all right, off the rape, robbery, and murder and oppression of these people you see on this sign. Okay, this is how America so-called became great. All right, it became so-called great off the blood, sweat, and tears of our people, man. All right, so the point we're going to further get into here is that recompense will be required. All right, Esau's not going to duck and dodge his way out of judgment. He's not going to default on his judgment, man. Okay, so let's go back.
Did y'all bring out Ecclesiastes 1:9 yet?
No, we can bring it out now. Let's do it. Let's do it, brother. I got you. I'll read it for you. So this is the book of Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, "The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun."
Salakia, the one it says the Lord requires that which is past.
Oh yeah, we read that. Yep, Ecclesiastes 3:15. Yep.
Salakia.
No,
But yeah, I mean, this is still good too though, because like I
Yep.
said, Esau has been doing the same thing when he was doing in the past. He just is becoming more covert with it, but we're at a point in time now to where the covertness is becoming, plain. Like they're no longer hiding what it is that they're doing as they're declaring war on Jake.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the spirit, because like he was saying, basically what's going on now is a rebranding of Jim Crow.
Right.
Right? Let's just go back and finish it out.
Exploded in size, but to incarceration. Instead of seeing signs that say whites only, we got a criminal justice system that locks up black people at rates so high, it resegregated entire communities. America actually found another way to exile black men from society by calling them criminals. Alexander calls this the new Jim Crow, not just because prisons exploded in size, but because once you're branded a felon, you lose all the same rights that black people lost under Jim Crow. You can't vote. You can't serve on juries. You're shut out from housing, education, and jobs. One conviction, even for something minor, marks you for life. Today, more black men are under correctional control than were enslaved in 1850. See, this isn't a broken system. It's a system working exactly as it was designed. So now let's talk about where the white church fits into all of this, because they gave this system its blessing. Instead of challenging the injustice, it preached obedience. You hear Romans 13 ripped out of context in churches across America and turned into a divine endorsement of police and prisons. These churches have found a way to make law and order sound like the gospel. They've replaced visiting prisoners with Back to Blue Sundays. There's an American theologian named Kimberly Brown Douglas, whose accolades and positions of prestige are too many to name, but she's currently an assistant visiting professor at Harvard Divinity School. In her incredible book, Stand Your Ground, Black Bodies and the Justice of God, she shows how white... Now let's talk about where the white...
Yeah, Salaki, I got the part 2 added in here, but just making a quick point, because he's gonna finish it out, because that was that little gap there. But pretty much, plantation Christianity in the Christian Crusades is responsible for much death of our people, man. The genocide, the enslavement, and death of the tribes, man. Okay, so again, the system, this current American system, the fucking white church, the Christian church has a big role in the destruction of Jake, man. All right, and Esau, he won't take the responsibility, the accountability for that. This is why we're addressing these things, because right now we live in a time where now Jake again is in the forefront of everything, man. But they're not talking about this stuff, right?
Church fits into all of this, because they gave this system its blessing. Instead of challenging the injustice, it preached obedience. You hear Romans 13 ripped out of context in churches across America and turned into a divine endorsement of police and prisons. These churches have found a way to make law and order sound like the gospel. They've replaced visiting prisoners with Back to Blue Sundays. There's an American theologian named Kimberly Brown Douglas, whose accolades and positions of prestige are too many to name, but she's currently an assistant visiting professor at Harvard Divinity School. In her incredible book, Stand Your Ground, Black Bodies and the Justice of God, she shows how white American Christianity blessed this system by sanctifying the protection of property and the policing of Black bodies as godly. Her book is a phenomenal exposition of how the ideas of law and order didn't just have political cover, but they had theological cover. But this worship of and willingness to sacrifice Black and brown bodies to the power of law and order doesn't just stop with Black men being incarcerated. Right now, we're seeing ICE raids ramped up, sometimes with National Guard troops in tow, storming workplaces and neighborhoods with militarized force. We're seeing brown bodies being policed for the crime of simply existing, while troops are deployed to cities, soon to be potentially like here in Chicago and in New York, all in the name of law and order, like we've already seen in Washington, D.C. And the same idolatry Douglas traced is alive today, dressed up in new uniforms with military force. She shows us how the white church confused Caesar's peace for Christ's peace and confused the order of prisons for the order of the kingdom. And that's why I say the white church worships death, because when you bless a system that cages millions and strips them of hope, you're not following the crucified and risen Jesus. You're serving the powers that crucified him. But the gospel of Jesus is not the gospel of law and order. The gospel is supposed to be good news to the captives. Jesus said that the Spirit of the Lord has anointed me to proclaim release to the prisoners, to set the oppressed free. The gospel of Christ is not handcuffs, it's Exodus. It's not 3 strikes, it's Jubilee. And if the church wants to worship Jesus again, it has to confess its complicity and to stand with those behind the bars and to stop dressing up death as righteousness. And so the prophetic message calling out to the white church today is that if your gospel looks more like mass incarceration than mass liberation, more like a police badge than a cross, then it isn't Christianity. It's idolatry. And it's time to tear that idol down.
Yeah, so these are the effects of this system that these Edomites purposely ignore. You see, this is why we wanted to bring this out, because we're showing the hypocrisy of these damn devils, man. Right? Real quick, let's bros had anything real quick. I want to grab Isaiah 42.
I had that Isaiah 8:20 real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. I'll pull it up.
It's just, showing you, as we always go into, how the church has nothing to do with the Bible. They use the Bible as a tool for indoctrination, but these Christians really don't believe in the Bible. They only, use it when it benefits them. All right. So
I'm gonna read it for you. I'll read it for you. Isaiah 8:20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
Right. And it says to the law and to the testimony. So if they're not speaking according to what the Bible says, then there's no light in them. And what is being shown is that the church doesn't operate with the light because the Spirit of the Lord is not in churches. The scriptures literally tell you that the Lord's Spirit dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So that already is proof that this, the churches, pretty much to have the truth. But at the same time, Jake doesn't realize the origins of what the church goes back to. All right. When you watch like that movie, what was Birth of a Nation? The Nat Turner movie we went to go see years ago, right?
Yeah, Birth of a Nation. Yep.
Yeah, and they showed you in that the only way they was even able to, hear the Bible outside of the slave master reading is whenever they had a Jake, preaching, but he had to preach, the indoctrinated version of the scriptures that he was taught by his master, and they would have an Edomite in the back of the in the church listening to make sure he didn't say anything he wasn't supposed to. So that just, always exemplifying the fact that these Christians don't know the Lord. We constantly bring that out, man. All right, because there's no light coming from them because they don't speak from the scriptures. They speak from their own heart.
Like you said, that's why they gave Jake the slave Bible. That's why they gave Jake plantation Christianity, which is pretty much the foundation of, this Christianity shit we have today. All right, exactly. to keep Jake, out of mind. All right, I just want to add this real quick to what you were saying. This is Psalms chapter 50 and verse 16. It says, "But unto the wicked, Yahweh Shem Yahushua saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?" So again, the Christian church, these Edomites, All right, these small hats, they have nothing to do with the scriptures, with the Torah. All right, you know, they shouldn't even be holding the Bible, man. These are not the people of the Most High. All right, they don't have the Spirit of the Lord. The Lord is not dealing with them. All right, so they shouldn't even be quoting the scriptures yet alone. You know, it says verse 17, seeing thou hatest instruction and casteth my words behind thee, and that's the spirit of Esau, as it tells you in Job, the 21st chapter. You know, the Edomites say, what profit does the words of the Lord have unto us? Roughly paraphrasing, man. Which also proves that these are not the people of the Most High. All right, Habakkuk 2:5 tells you that his spirit is not upright in him. Okay, so that shows you that's just proof within itself. You know, bros, want to add anything real quick?
Khan, I had a quick precept, if I may. Shalom Akim, Yahweh Shem Shai Bashim Kakarash Bakatam.
Hey, shalom.
Shalom. This is Romans chapter 1 and verse 25. It says, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So as we see under this Edomite hegemony, Esau has taken the Bible unto himself to fit his narrative, right? Changing the truth of the scriptures into a lie so that he can pretty much whitewash the word of the Lord to suit his narrative, right? So that it favors him because he's able to go around the world and have these images that show him being the chosen people, show images of him being the Lord's people, right? But his actions are contrary to that. And we're in that time where the Lord is shifting that narrative of these Christians being the people that actually believe, because now the truth is being declared, right? And their narrative is being destroyed.
So,
I got one real quick, Bible Shah.
you got it.
James 4:4. It says, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh Shem Shai. And that just, further adding to the point that, hey, if you're in these churches, you're ultimately an enemy to the Lord, man, because the church will always put the agenda of the world over the words of the Lord. And we saw, the greatest example of that during the lockdown. All right, because what was the churches doing, man? All right, they was allowing people to come in there and get poked up with that jab, man. Right. But the scriptures, tell us that we're supposed to, have faith in the Lord. The Lord's gonna cover us. So the jab became these people's savior during the time of the demic, man. All right, instead of them trusting in the Lord, like how we was, telling the people to do, the believers, So as we're seeing, the church is going to be a tool to be used to lead Jacob to destruction. We always used to go in that, back in the day about was it Romans 13? How these pastors are going to be used, all right, directing the people towards what these elites want the government to be teaching people of what to do during a time of trouble.
Yep. I got something real quick. Bros, anything real fast? All right. So I want to grab this real quick. Just kind of tying in again on the system that the Edomite was just talking about that sacrifices black and brown bodies for the sake of the law, of this system. This is Isaiah 42 and verse 22. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. All right. You Israelites represent the people that are robbed and spoiled. Okay. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses, right? So this is twofold. So as you were saying, all right, you have the system, all right, that was set up to incarcerate and oppress our people. But on the other end, you have these different philosophies that have our that have our people's minds ensnared. Christianity, the Islam, all of these false doctrines are likened unto prison houses for the minds of our people. So it's twofold, right? So it says they are hid in prison houses, and like he was saying, as we know the statistics, all right, the so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, and Spanish make up the majority of the prison population, and all of that's all by design, okay? And which again, the point that I said is that these Edomites would never acknowledge that, They won't take the responsibility of what this system has done in destroying our people. Right? It says they are for a prey, and none delivereth. See, for a spoil, and none saith restore. See that? So there's nobody truly fighting for the plight and cause for the people you see here on this sign, man. All right. This is why the only way out of this system is the liberation through Yahweh Shai. All right. And the Lord, he's going to require again, which is past. And I want to make that point before we move on, to our next point here. But this is Jeremiah 49 and 10, because the bottom line is this: the Edomite is going to pay no matter how they try to spin the narrative, no matter how much they try to deflect and gaslight, man. All right. His ass is going down. Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I have made Esau bare, have uncovered his secret places, and he should not be able to hide himself. So we live in an age now where everything is being exposed about Esau, man. All right. From the inner workings of the system to what he's doing behind the scenes, his wickedness that's being uncovered, all of that, man. It says he should not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. All right, jumping down verse 12, it says, for thus saith the Lord, Jeremiah 49 and 12, for thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. All right, we have as a nation, okay, we have assuredly drinking that cup, okay, which was what? Slavery, genocide, oppression, okay, losing our heritage or nationality, being at the bottom, okay. It says, and they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, right? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So Esau, the Edomites are surely going to drink of the cup that we drank, man. Okay, and there's no way around it, man. The inevitable is going to happen. You see?
I got it.
Go ahead, Op.
This is Genesis chapter 4 and verse 13. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. And this is the mindset we see these Edomites carrying on to this day, man. Right? They see, right, what's about to come to pass. They see the world turning on them, man. Right. They thought that they were going to be able to keep everybody in subjection. That's why they come against Jake. They come against all these nations because people aren't taking their shit anymore, man. Right. And now they're being held responsible and held accountable, and they can't take it anymore. So outside of the physical judgment that they're going to receive, it's the mental anguish of being presented with all your evil deeds to your face, man, as they stand that trial.
That's right. That's right. That's what we said. That's why we read that definition of default, right? He's not going to default his judgment, okay? Failure to fulfill an obligation, especially to repay a loan or appear in the court of law. See? So let's, brothers, got anything else you want to add real quick? Okay. All right, so let's move on. All right, so let's get into the point of how Esau, again, is trying to, he's trying to change the narrative, right? So I had put this up here earlier because at the end of the day, when Biden was in office, the Department of Homeland Security said the so-called white supremacists, Edomite supremacists, are the greatest terror threat. But now we see they're trying to shift that narrative, man, because even what happened with the guy Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk, whether it's real or not, right? Who was the face of that, right? And you had the guy, I think it was the I want to say if he was like one of the FBI guys, but they were hoping that it wasn't one of their people. Mm-hmm. You see, and everything else that's going on, the school shootings, mass shootings, all right, all that's being done by these fucking Edomites, man. So again, this still stands to this very day, man. Right? Now let's get into the audacity and the hypocrisy of these fucking Edomites, man. All right.
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is the talk that takes your children, according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time, and says, there are certain parts of town that you cannot go. And there are certain people that you cannot be around.
Yep.
Right? If there's someone who is Black in our church, and they've been in our church and we know them and they love the Lord Jesus Christ, great. We're not talking about that person,
Right.
but we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into a crowd of strangers and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're Black strangers, there is 30 times more danger. Them's the facts. And it is actually a failure of your parental duty. White parents, please hear me. If you teach your children growing up, if you lie to them and say, all people and all races of people in our country are the same. They are not. You are actually depriving your child of factual, truthful information that could save their life.
There you
Yo,
go.
that's
You brother
this
got
is
it.
hilarious. The most spirit
ahead.
of the Lord is on Apostle Hard, bro. Because Esau really is becoming the new niggas. Because what they're doing is literally what we had to do when we grew up, was be told about the Edomites. You know, the
Right.
same warnings that they're saying now, but the Lord is reversing the roles. So through the Spirit, this is actually beautiful.
Mhm.
Because Esau knows that role reversal is coming, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. But you see, like we were talking about in the previous lesson that we did, these are the talking points on these podcasts with these Edomites, man, like Charlie Kirk and this guy here,
Mhm.
right? These are the talking points that niggas are the problem. Like we were saying before we started, see, it's bigger than fucking, niggas killing each other, man, and gang violence and robbing stores. We're talking about these Edomites being responsible for the destruction of the planet, man.
Mhm.
Right? Which they won't take the blame. They want to set that accountability. Real quick, I just want to get that in Revelation real fast. Okay, because he's regarded as what? As the red horse.
Yeah.
All right, let's get that. So this is Revelation 6:4, and Elder Malcolm has sent me something too I want to put on the screen as well. And this is Revelation 6:4. So again, the hypocrisy of Esau, of Edomite America, right? Revelation 6:4. And there went out another horse that was red. All right, that red goes back to Esau, Edom. All right, that's the identifying marker for the Edomites. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. All right, so think about that, man. You got a nation of people that exist on the earth today that are responsible for taking peace from the earth, right? And that they should kill one another. And there was giving unto him a great sword, going back to the blessing of Esau. Okay, his sword entails in multiple factions. All right, the wars, economic warfare, biological warfare. Okay, sanctions. All right, this democracy. Okay, the Western philosophy that he's pushed amongst the nations. Okay, all those things tie back to the sword, man. Okay, so again, Esau can't get away from his he can't get away from accountability, man. Right? You brothers got it. Go ahead, speak.
I just wanted to land back on what you were saying, Zaquan. Going into that sword, like brothers often make mention of, going into his media, as we've seen over the course of this past week, how he's really weaponized both social media, alt media, mainstream media to push forth this narrative, right? That Esau is not the problem.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But we understand that he is just trying to shift, like you said, blame Jake, shift the narrative so that he doesn't have to be held accountable.
That's it.
Right. Yeah, that's why when the scriptures talk about I will slay my brother Jacob, right? That word slay goes into to strike, and that the strikes being those continual strokes, man. Right? So it's nonstop through, every means imaginable, right, to bring the downfall of Israelites, man.
Still. Mm-hmm. And this is what Elder Malcolm just sent me. The screenshot here. It says 29 Americans in 2023 were killed by an immigrant. 8,842 were killed by white men. You see, he can't dodge this thing, man. We on his ass, man. All right. Like I said, the audacity of these fucking Edomites. So again, this still stands.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is something that we've been known, man. Okay, but they're trying to change that. They're trying to get away from that. They can't. Right now, I had pulled this up on accident. This is the spirit. You know, actually, it was the spirit. I ain't gonna say it's on accident, right? But going back to where I got this video from, because we heard this fucking Edomite here, right? So this is from this clip that we played here was from Right Wing Watch. So as we were saying, a lot of these right wing podcasts, talking points, these are the things that they're pushing, all right, to try to shift the blame on Jake, right? As you heard him, he said he urges parents to have the talk with kids about black people 30 times more danger, right? Now, what I found, I typed in white people blaming blacks, and this is what the AI gave me, which I thought was heavy. And this is what I found. This is what the spirit had brought to me, right? But just reading this here, this is pretty heavy because this is exactly what's going on now. So it says white people blaming blacks. It says blaming black people is a long-standing practice known as racial scapegoating. Check that out. It says blaming black people is a long-standing practice known as racial scapegoating. So this ain't nothing new, right? Where a marginalized group is unfairly blamed for societal problems. Check that out. See? Throughout history, throughout U.S. history, this has served to protect white privilege, divert attention from systematic issues like racism and inequality, and reinforce racial hierarchies. Like we said, man, this is all deflection. Okay, deflection, gaslighting to maintain their racial Edomite, hierarchy, man, and to keep those ideologies going, man. Okay, this is what it's about. They'll never address the real problem, which is them and the shit that they're doing. This is why the scripture said that the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, man.
Mm-hmm.
It says the practice of racial scapegoating dates back to the nation's origins and has evolved over time, as we see it, right? During slavery in the Jim Crow era, blame was often over, with an alleged inferiority of black people cited to justify and maintain slavery and racial segregation. Are we not seeing that now?
Yep.
White people profited economically while using racist ideology to rationalize the denial of rights and opportunities to black people. See that? What has Trump been doing since he's been pushing forth the DEI and others, cutting off the the government benefits and all of that, because right now, what's the narrative that we've been hearing lately? That, hey, niggas are monsters, savages, man. Okay, we need to meet them with violence. Okay, calls for violence. You got Edomites separating themselves, building Edomite only communities. It says post civil rights era. As overt racism became less socially acceptable, the blame shifted towards more subtle tactics, such as arguments against programs designed to address systematic inequality. For example, affirmative action programs designed to remedy historical discrimination have been scapegoated as unfairly denying opportunities to white people. You see? It's like we see now, Esau's the victim now. Right? The concept of racial resentment. Psychologists and sociologists use the concept of racial resentment to describe a modern form of this blame. It is rooted in the belief that black people do not adhere to traditional American values of hard work and that they receive unfair advantages through special favors, right? And that's another talking point. We're tired of giving you niggas special favors. We're tired of doing this and having these programs for you and all of that, The resentment is a key factor in contemporary political polarization and opposition to civil rights. Okay? And brothers, you can chime in if you want to. It's a short read. I'm almost there. Go ahead, bro.
Quick.
Yeah.
Esau didn't start looking at Jake a certain type of way until post-slavery, right? because all the narratives of Jake is lazy, Jake doesn't do this, they get all these things, the government assistance that started because niggas weren't working for free no more, man. So as you see, the times have gone to where they're looking at our people in a state of you're supposed to be beneath us, but you found some way to get beside us now, right? And they're trying to build that gap again, man.
Exactly.
And to add on to you, because another reason why as well, because Esau, noticed how Jake, when they were separated from Esau, how they thrived without him, and they saw that superiority that we had when we were on our own versus, like you said, when we got integrated with them, and that separation, they wanted to still have that ability to say they're over them. So this is just a coping mechanism for them to still have that belief that they're better than Jake, but they know, they say in their spirit that they're under us, man.
Yep.
So they use the system as a means of oppression to try to destroy the self-esteem of our people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Let's read some more. It says systematic issues versus individual blame. Many systematic problems are obscured when blame is directed at individuals or entire communities. It says poverty and economic inequality. Black people have historically faced discriminatory housing and employment practices, which have created a substantial racial wealth gap. Blaming Black people for their economic position ignores these structural barriers and places responsibility on the victims of systematic inequality. See that? And again, as I said, this is what these Edomites they won't take accountability. They'll overlook this.
Right.
Meanwhile, trying to justify blaming niggas for all the problems in the society, right? It says, criminal justice system, Black people are disproportionately incarcerated due to systematic biases in policing, prosecution, and sentencing. This is often misconstrued by those who blame Black people for crime rates, ignoring the deeply embedded racial bias within the legal system. Right. This is why I played the video of the Edomite breaking down the system, going into what did he say? That that the white church worships death, as he broke it all down. See? This is beautiful stuff, man. It says a few more points here, and we'll get back to the scriptures. Bear with me. It says education. Racial disparities in education are linked to systematic issues like segregated housing and unequal school funding, right? Yet some arguments focus on individual achievement gaps rather than the structural conditions that produce them. Beautiful. And who's responsible for putting us in that position? See? Consequences of racial scapegoating. Blaming Black people for societal problems has serious and widespread consequences. Reinforces systematic inequality by refusing to address the real systematic drivers of inequality. This practice reinforces a false narrative that upholds existing racial power structures, perpetuates harm and mistrust. The emotional and psychological toll on Black communities is severe, leading to mistrust of institutions and social alienation. Last point, prevents solutions. Shifting blame to Black people prevents meaningful dialogue about how to solve complex issues rooted in systematic inequality. Instead of working together to fix problems, communities are fractured by racial division. All right. So I thought this was pretty heavy, man. So all these points is what's continue to happen now. Bros want to add on anything,
God, I had a quick precept.
Go ahead, bro.
This is Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 23 in the NLT. Can an Ethiopian change the color of his skin? Can a leopard take away its spots? Neither can you start doing good, but you have always done evil. And that's the MO of Esau, right? As despite this narrative that Esau has tried to promote, well, the people in the church, they're okay. right? Trying to create these little patches where Esau pretty much tries to present himself as innocent, present himself as reasonable. This devil has been unreasonable his entire time being in the seat of authority. He's always sought after the blood of Jacob, right? And now we're seeing that spirit that he's carried, tucked away in his heart that was covert is becoming more overt,
Yep.
right? And we're seeing that as the elder had went through this entire breakdown, showing you through the generations how Esau has targeted Jake, it's clear that he has never changed.
Mm-hmm. Never changed.
Okay,
You gotta go ahead.
Yeah, I have sharing the screen if you want to bring up that thing from chat.
Oh yeah, that's right on time too. Yeah, we'll do that. So go ahead, pull yours up. But right here, Elder Malcolm must sit another one here. This is some North Carolina white male. Zachary Newell threatens to mass unalive 20 random black preschoolers. Man, you see that? So again, there's no getting around this thing, man. Okay, he's the greatest. He's the greatest threat to America right now, man. All right, there's no getting out of it.
They made sure that Jake would be the ones that would do that would cover this story too.
Right, exactly. That's crazy, man. Right. So priest, you got that? You want to pull that up?
Yeah, you gotta hit it.
All right.
The option should be on the bottom.
Okay, let me get to it. Bear with me, and then we'll get back to more scriptures here. Because what we want, the reason why we want to bring this out right here is because this all ties into the system that continuously destroys our people. Right? You got it, priest. Go ahead, do your thing, bro.
So just literally lay back and all the time.
Hey, blow it up a little bit too. Blow it up, zoom in on it a little bit, make it bigger for me. Because I want everybody that's watching this show read this, man, because this is all the product of this system that's destroying us, right?
How do you zoom in on here?
Type
on your browser.
Yeah, go to the browser and click view, and it should say zoom in.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. Zoom in one more time. There you go.
All right. So this is going into the generational warfare that Tazamon just spoke about. So Chat GPT, I put in here, describe the first through fifth generational warfare on the people, specifically black people. So it says the concept of generational warfare, first through fifth generation, describe the evolution of conflict from conventional battlefield combat to complex, often invisible strategies involving psychological, informational, and societal manipulation. When applied to marginalized communities, especially black people, these frameworks can be used metaphorically to understand how various forms of systematic oppression have shifted over time. Here's a breakdown through that lens. First generational warfare, line and column battles, time frame 17th the 19th century, applied to black people. This is the area of direct, unconventional conflict that we might call visible war. For black people, especially during slavery and colonialism, this was physical domination and enslavement, military enforcement of slave codes, colonization of African lands, and the violent suppression of resistance. Public state-sanctioned violence, which are lynchings, whippings, executions, etc. In essence, the war was physical, brutal, and openly declared. Then we have second generational warfare, which is firepower and industrialized war, time frame 19th century through the early 20th century. It says applied to black people as tactics involved oppression became more bureaucratic, but still overt. Jim Crow laws and racial segregation, redlining and systematic exclusion from economic opportunities, police forces becoming modernized and used as tools of racial control, because all the police force is the modern day paddy wagon, the slave catchers of the plantation days.
Yep.
Anti-riots and programs, e.g. Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rosewood. In essence, institutions became the battlefield and law was the weapon. And this is the transference of the system now becoming a weapon on Jake, because we're going from, in the field, first generational warfare of straight up chattel slavery to Jake being quote unquote free from slavery. Now Esau has to find another way to oppress the people, which as we're going into, all right, is just getting more and more overt, or it's like a covert and harder. All right, so generational, third generational warfare, maneuver warfare, time frame, the middle 20th century or mid 20th century. It says this generation involved outflanking and psychological operations. The system adapted. Civil rights movements were met with COINTELPRO, infiltration and disinformation, psychological warfare, media portrayal of black leaders as radical or dangerous, the rise on the war of drugs, beginning strategic cultural attacks, the dismantling of black power movements through internal divisions and external sabotage. In essence, the enemy moved from open confrontation to subversion, misdirection, and divide and conquer. And a lot of this can be done through the church. That's going to go into the next one, I believe. But, because the church was one of the main reasons how, like you said, they worship death, and they taught our people to worship death. Because look at some of the, the mindsets that came out of Christianity. The laws are done away with, so you can pretty much do as thou wilt. All right. The dietary system is done away with, so you can eat whatever you want, which is leading to death. Jake having a death, a lifestyle as far as for food, and just going into other shit. So,
Priest, could I land back on that right quick with a precept?
You got it.
This is Psalms chapter 140 and verse 5. It says, I start at 4. Keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent men, speaking of Esau, who have proposed to overthrow my goings. The proud have hid a snare for me in cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me, Selah. Right. So as the brother Priest was speaking, you could speak on it, Priest.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, when you look at it, this system was created to keep Jake trapped. So even when you got Jake trying to move up in this world, all right, because the main ways that this system attacks Jake is through the healthcare system, the schools, all right, the court system, just using those three, for example. And what happens when Jake try to, build himself up out that pit? They get involved with these things and they become a pawn in the indoctrination and destruction. Because when you join the, become a teacher or a professor or whatever, you want to be a teacher to our people, you can't teach Jake the truth. You got to teach to the curriculum that Esau Edom is pushing, which is nothing more than deceit and lies.
Yep.
You got the medical field. All right, Jake wants to become doctors and all that. You can't push true, healing methods, holistic and all that. You got to go off the Rockefeller playbook, which is pushing pharmakeia.
Yeah, allopathic medicine.
Exactly. And then you got the court system, all right, which is nothing more than a snare and a trap to our people. And like I said, you can't go up in that and try to do true justice, because we know all that shit's corrupt. All these damn lawyers and judges, they're all in cahoots with the elites, because hey, these elites, all they gotta do is throw these damn people a bag and they'll throw out justice in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah, that's the system. That's the system, man. These are the things that these Edomites purposely ignore. You see? Go ahead, Ak.
And Jake, you think you're doing something by joining these things? All you're doing is becoming a cog in the system to help destroy our people. So the only way you can truly help our people is to come back and serve the Lord in truth and sincerity, man. Like how we're doing.
That's right.
All right. So continuing on, fourth generational warfare, non-state actors, ideological and asymmetric. This is the late 20th century through today. It says now the warfare is decentralized and fought through culture, economics, and information. Privatized prisons, decriminalization of blackness, school to prison pipeline, economic warfare, the deindustrialization of black urban centers, gentrification, cultural control, hyper-commercialism of certain images of blackness in music, film, and advertisement, education systems failing to teach true, quote-unquote, black history, which is just history, all right, our true history, according to what the Bible said happened, and achievements. In essence, the battlefield is the mind, the economy, and the narrative. And it's a saying that, these devils say that pretty much once you control the mind, you don't have to do anything else. And this is why when Esau took the chains off our people, you know, he did that because he no longer had to worry about keeping our people, you know, locked down because he already had them on. He broke our people. All right, like it says in Jeremiah 17:4, we fell away from our heritage, and we were given a pseudo history of what we thought of, you know, who we were just based off what we have here in America. Because one thing the church or history doesn't teach here in America in the West is who was Jake and what was Jake doing pre-slavery. What history happened before Esau Edom came and put us in chains?
Yeah, I want to add something real quick before you read on, because like you said about the culture, right? You know, you got black culture. That was it. That was created by the small hats.
Yep.
Right, and they gave Jake, you know, what you would call black culture. You know, they try to merge Jake with their Egyptology, Pan-Africanism bullshit. Then when it comes to, you know, TV, entertainment, and film and all of that, you know, you got the feds that's running that. So they got certain agendas and narratives that they push upon our people. All right, you know, feminism. Okay, you find out that the fucking CIA was behind that. The separation of the black household. Okay, the destruction of the black nuclear family. Okay, all these things, the Edomites, so-called white people, are all behind. So again, I'm gonna keep reinforcing that they can't get away from that. See that? So let's keep reading. Now go ahead.
I want to add to you because, like you said, you was going into the culture and the media and all that, right? So this is a quote from Leonard E. Feeney. It says, having a television in your home is like having a Jew in your living room.
Man.
So, like you said, everything that has been given to our people was given to us by the small hats. So all the things that we were taught here is just a reinforcement of an indoctrination that was given to us by the elites to keep us from coming back to the truth of who we are as being the Israelites that the Bible speaks of.
Yeah. Psalms 62:4. How's it go?
Cast them down from his excellency.
Yeah, to cast them off from his excellency, to separate you from the powers. That's what it's always been about. That's the war. As we're reading through these different points. All right, this is the war that was waged on the Israelite community, man. You know, the system. Go ahead, bro.
Finishing out, and then we have fifth generational warfare, which is information and narrative control. This is dealing with the present and future. It says this is warfare without a visible enemy, fought through algorithms, memes, data, and perception. And this is what we're talking about now. Everything that we're seeing, and you know, we brought out in this video, this is the fifth generational warfare that being played out right before our eyes. So it says misinformation campaigns targeted at black communities, e.g., election interference, health conspiracies. It says weaponized AI and surveillance in black neighborhoods, and that's what all this is leading to. All right, so they can bring in that Gideon.
Yep.
It says social media manipulation, trends, and viral content that subtly influence culture, values, and choices.
Hey, real quick, can I say something about that? That's heavy too, about the social media manipulation. So a lot of them talking points, as you see on the podcast, about how them gender wars, you know what I'm saying? How niggas is talking about, you know, you don't need a man and I won't go 50-50 and, you know, fuck men, fuck women, all that shit. Esau's behind that shit. A lot of that shit, man. You know, the arguments, the divide amongst men and women, how marriages are no longer exist. The dating scene is all fucked up, right? Esau's behind that shit, man. They got somebody exposed it, like some of them websites and things like that. You know, they're set up by Esau, man. And Jake, you know, they fall right in for the snare. You know, keep going on.
Okay. It says psychological warfare, feeding nihilism, division, and distraction through digital means. In essence, it's not about bullets. It's about beliefs, identity, and perception. Because it's what you're saying, the social media and just the internet period, they're able to shape public opinion.
Yep.
All right, based on what's being said. This is why things like Operation Mockingbird, all right, is being used, which was a CIA, you know, thing that pretty much have all these news stations and different things say the same thing over and over again. Because I had looked up this term called a loser. I don't know how you say this word. ILLUSORY. Illusory truth effect. So it says Repeatedly hearing a statement, whether true or false, can make it seem more credible due to a cognitive bias known as the illusory truth effect. This phenomenon works by increasing the process fluency of the information, making it feel more familiar and easier for your brain to process when you then interpret it as a sign of truth. And so Esau is pushing these his pseudoscience, these bogus ass trumped up facts about Jake being this dangerous, a threat to society. All right, the same way they did back in the day. All right, when they was talking about Jake being a brute, they got to protect the Edomite woman from Jake because he'll grape her and all these different things. This is all that coming right back. Like we read earlier in Ecclesiastes 1:9, that which is then is now. They're back to using the same playbook because as the apostle always going to, man, Esau, Edom, all right, them devils is not smart. They use the same playbook all the time, man.
Yep.
All right. So what we're seeing them do is beginning to manipulate the populace with these false facts to make these Edomites, want to wage war on Jake because that civil war is brewing.
Yeah, to justify. Yep. You got it, bro. Go ahead, Cornwall.
Okay, I was just going to add to the point that Priest was making because the propaganda techniques that Esau's cultivated over the years. There's a documentary, I can't remember the name of it, but pretty much they tell you how each generation they push certain propaganda to the point that they believe it's their own ideas.
Right.
You so they're not thinking on their own accord, and that's what we're seeing as time speed up. They're pushing more and more of these ideas out, so the people believe that they're having an independent thought. Right?
Exactly.
It says the illusion of truth.
If I can get an example of that, because that happened with the Phoenicians when they got brought into our land when we got kicked out, like the second Kings, the 16th chapter, I want to say, because when they over time they got taught that they were the people to the point to when you saw the Samaritan woman at the well.
Oh yeah, the Samaritans.
The Samaritans, like I said, Phoenicians, the Samaritans. When she saw Yahushua at the well, they had been told the same thing for generations to the point where they believed that they were the true people. So the Bible gives an example of that. So what we're seeing Esau do with this, this enchantment to make these Edomites believe that we're the threat is that illusory truth effect, man.
Yep. I got some more. So yeah, we almost there, man. But we making some solid points. So this is beautiful, man, because these Edomites are being exposed for the hypocrites they are, man. All right. So let's get into some more here. Right. Let's grab Lucky, I got a lot of tabs. Bear with me. Let's see where are we at. Okay, let's play this and then we'll grab more scriptures. We'll play this again just to show you again. Like we're saying, these are the talking points that are all over the internet from these Edomites now, right?
These black people are really struggling and they're turning into these maniacs. It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel. And, look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare.
Bullshit.
Right.
You see, this is what we're talking about, man. And they're running with this shit, right?
And I don't consider myself one of them. The reason that people have negative attitudes about black people is because most people's interactions with black people are negative. Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder. And you say, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that. If everybody did that, it would just be another lane. And, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply to them. They have no respect for society. Like that's their interaction is they are a waiter and they wait on a black table and the black people don't tip and they're fucking rude. That's most people's interactions. It's stuff like that. They go to the DMV and they see a black person behind the counter and they say, oh, here we go. And the person's rude. Now, it just goes to show people are not racist. It goes to show people don't like people that are rude. People don't. It's unpleasant. People want to be treated with consideration and respect. And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence, although the violence is pretty striking.
Oh boy, the audacity.
Right.
low moral character. Okay, the base man speaking that,
Right.
you know.
Hey, what Esau don't realize is these are all learned behaviors, right?
Exactly.
They picking up from you, right? And now you're seeing that reflection of yourself, and that's why they hate it so much, man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let me finish it out. It's like if my computer's moving a little slow, bear with me 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I'm dragging a little bit. Let me see if I can catch the computer up real quick. Hold on. Too much heat coming out.
God.
You know what I'm saying? That cool computer off, brother. All right, let's try it now.
And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence, although the violence is pretty striking. If you live your life and you know that you're going to be mugged by black people, it kind of colors your opinion or perception of black people, wouldn't you say? If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for? Black people. It doesn't take a lot of them to spoil the whole bunch like that. And we just want black people to take accountability. And I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative. And sometimes extremely negative, like I could get a gun in my face. You know, that's a problem. And people go, well, you are just loaded up with hatred and racism. It's like, I'm really not. I'm a really friendly person. I'm a really polite, friendly person. I give everybody a chance. But if I'm someplace and I see some black person walking in with their pants sagging and they can't articulate what their problem is or what they need, and they're rude and they're aggressive and I'm in fear for my life, like, yeah, I have a problem with all of that. And these black people go, well, you're racist. You're racist. It's like, no, I just hate inconsiderate behavior. It just bothers me in this damn ass city, because that's all it is in Chicago, is just these black people who can never take accountability. It's always somebody else's fault.
Oh man, how do they say, the pot calling the kettle black? Right. Hey, real quick, hold Lamentations 4:21. I want to read this definition that the brother posted earlier. Plausible. What was it? Plausible deniability. Right. I pulled that up. Right, let me get it real quick, because that's exactly what this is.
You seriously believe?
Right, so this is the definition of plausible deniability. It says plausible deniability is the ability for an individual, often a senior official, to deny knowledge or says like to deny of or responsibility for an unethical or illegal action, even if they were involved or aware of it, because there is no conclusive evidence to prove their connection. See, and that's exactly what it is. These fucking Edomites, they're not going to take the accountability. Okay, they're not going to. What they're doing is they're deflecting the responsibility, man, for their actions, to keep that bullshit ideology going. This Edomite, supremacy shit going. That's all it is, right? Appreciate that something real quick.
Yeah, if I could put something on the screen real quick. There's just, as you're reading that out, Esau was trying to duck, the facts.
Right.
Now, this little boy was speaking on that, so I just wanted to play that real quick so everybody can see this.
Yep.
If the 13% of the population look like me, because we're never safe around me. You seriously believe the 13% of the population and 50% of the crime? You need to get fact checked, and I'm mad to do it to you. In 2016, white people committed 70% of the convicted crime, and black people only committed 27%. Then in 2017, white people committed 68% of the reported crime, and black people only committed 26% of it. And in 2024, white people committed 53% of the reported crime, while black people only committed 25%. So this narrative on 13% of the population, 50% of the crime is wrong. You know who actually commits 50% of the crime? White people. But guess what stat black people are 13% of the population and 50% in? Exonerations. When they're wrongly convicted, all you're doing by spreading this fake fact is allowing more people to profile and be racist towards black people. You know what's the highest percentage of people who are victims of white people? Black people. And if you look at all the shootings, guess who are the shooters? White dudes. So let's all think long and hard on who actually commits 50% of the crime.
And cold cuts like a deli sandwich, man. Man, you see, and this is what we're talking about, man. He can't run away, man. We got his ass against the wall, man. The nerve of these fucking Edomites, man. You know, that's beautiful, bro. And I didn't even see that video. That's awesome, bro. All right. Hey, let's get back to cutting this devil up, man. You have something, Tazwan?
Yeah, I have something real quick.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 50. Jump into verse 20 in the NLT. It says, I'll start at 19. Your mouth is filled with wickedness and your tongue is full of lies. You sit around and slander your brother, your own mother's son. And that's what we see, right? We see that Esau is putting out this psyops to just slander the tribes, right? Speaking lies, putting out statistics that aren't backed and validated by anything, right? Verse 21, while you did all this, I remained silent and you thought I didn't care. But now I will rebuke you, listing all my charges against you.
Yep.
Right. So Esau is getting these charges listed by way of who? The mouthpiece of the Lord, which is the prophets.
That's right.
Right. Which is why we're seeing Esau is tucking his tail and he's trying to act as though he's innocent. He's a victim.
Yep.
Right. But at the same time, his true nature is being shown.
Yep. Beautiful. Here we go. Let's grab this too. This is the last part I want to add in. And just to finish off these fucking Edomites, man. All right.
So, you wanted that lamentation?
Yeah, give me that real quick, and then we'll move on to that point.
This is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help.
Jump to 21 and 22.
21, Salakia. Lamentations 4 and 21, it says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
Yeah. See, and these Edomites, they're drunken. Hello, voice is echoing.
Yeah, Slakia. My shit tripping.
No, it's all good. But I lost my train of thought. Read it again, Slakia.
Okay. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21, it says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
Yeah, so like I was saying, Esau, he's drunk and he's being exposed, man. Okay, he's being found out to be the hypocrite that he is. Like we were talking about, all these fake statistics that they're bringing out is all bullshit, man, and he's being found out on it. All right, keep going.
Verse 22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom.
Yep.
He will discover thy sins.
And the Lord is discovering. The Lord is using the prophets to discover his sins. This is why we went through the different stages of the warfare that this system commits against our people. We showed you in the beginning how the Edomite was breaking down how the white church worships death by the sacrifice of black and brown people to keep this system of Edomite supremacy going. So all of that's being exposed, man. Okay, he can't get away from it, right?
Khan, if I may add to in my Bible right here, where it says "discover thy sins," it's got a mark next to that, and it says "or carry thee captive for thy sins." So we see that ultimately the Lord is discovering the sins. He's making it plain, but he's making it known that there's a judgment that's going to be presented to Esau. This is not going to be something that you're just going to go throughout the earth doing the things you did and you just get off scot-free.
Yeah.
You try to gaslight the world into thinking, you know what? He's not that bad. Right. He's not that bad of a guy. Like Esau tries to do with other Edomites that commit crimes. He was troubled. Yeah. You know, he just had a rough upbringing.
Yeah.
You know, he got his birthright robbed. You see?
Yep.
Like, no, you are going to be held accountable for how you moved.
Okay. Facts. You have some, anybody else had anything to add in there?
I had a quick precept if I may.
Yeah, you got it, brother.
It's Proverbs 16 and 29. A violent man enticeth his neighbor and leadeth him into the way that is not good. He shutteth his eyes to devise forward things. Moving his lips, he bringeth evil to pass. Right? So this devil's whole MO was to teach other people's his way of wickedness, man. Right? And to allow them to grow in it. That way, once they reached, or even got close to where he's at, he can turn around on them, right? And play the victim, like you said.
Right.
Once people start playing Esau's games the way he plays, then it's a problem, man.
Yep. Beautiful. All right. So the last part here, just to kind of finish up this show. All right, because Esau's getting destroyed, man. All right. So I thought this was interesting too. It's caught my eye early on. All right, bringing it all home. So this came out, and I'm actually going to read a portion of the article here from my from another tab because I can't read it from here. But it says here in the headline, it says the American dream is ending in a psychotic breakdown. It says a rising tide of political violence and the rejection of legal norms suggest that suggests that the America of the founding no longer exists, right? So let me just read a quick paragraph from that, from another tab that I got pulled up here. All right, so I want to jump down, bear with me. So it says, is this how the American dream ends? With a mass psychotic breakdown, an epidemic of insanity, in which the freedoms and virtues that were intended to guarantee a great modern nation are turned into murderous parodies of the original intentions? Maybe this was a historic experiment that was doomed from the start. Perhaps the whole project was naively idealistic, and misconceived. The idea that you could create a unified, stable nation state from displaced people who have been chosen to leave behind their historic roots in the precious sense of belonging to a place, however terrible and dangerous that place may have been. Last part, it says the founding intentions were magnificent. This was to be the age of reason. This was to be the age of reason incarnate, where every individual would be granted the rights of self-determination and personal liberty, and be guaranteed those rights by a written contract, the Constitution, with a government whose powers were strictly constrained and delineated. It was the embodiment of the Enlightenment dream of human potential, which relied on the principle, rationale, debate, and the participation of the population in a permanent, open discussion about their own future. This is real doubt now. The anxiety is quite palpable about whether the concept can survive a 21st century reality in which threats of death and retribution have become the common currency of public discussion. All right. So as Babylon was established off of violence, it's going to go out with violence, right? Mm-hmm. And I had that pulled up here, okay, which was pretty heavy. I had put that in just to see what I would get. And it says the phrase that Babylon is known for its violence. This phrase suggests that Babylon is known for its violent actions will ultimately face destruction through divine violence as a form, through violence as a form of divine judgment. This concept is reflected in biblical texts, particularly Revelation and Jeremiah, where the fall of Babylon is depicted as violent and definite end, right? It says here, in hold for me out, Jeremiah 51 and 24 and 25, and somebody can hold Revelation 18 and 21. But it says the fall of Babylon is depicted both in Revelation in the book of Jeremiah, emphasizing the theme of violence associated with this downfall. See that? So violence is associated with the downfall of America. You see, it's all spiritual. The American dream is ending in a psychotic breakdown, right? It says, and I just want to read this real quick and we'll grab the scriptures. I'm going to read these 2 points in symbolism of violence in conclusion. It says symbolism of violence. Babylon symbolizes not just a city, but a system of corruption and immorality. All right. Everything that we've been talking about this whole entire lesson. The violence inflicted by Babylon is mirrored in the violence of its judgment. Conclusion. The phrase "establish all violence shall go out with violence" encapsulates the biblical narrative surrounding Babylon. Its rise through oppression and immorality leads to a prophesied fall marked by divine retribution, reinforcing the idea that actions have consequences, particularly in the context of moral and spiritual corruption. Boom. Get those scriptures for me.
God, I got Jeremiah 51 and chapter 51, verse 24.
You got it.
It says, "And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahweh."
So the Lord said he was going to render unto Babylon basically a reward to all the inhabitants of the Chaldea and all their evil that they have done in Zion. All the evil that was done against the Lord's people is going to be rewarded with violence, destruction. Okay, this very system that has our people entrapped, all right, through all those various mechanisms that we just read, is going to be destroyed through great violence. Keep going.
Verse 25, "Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh."
Destroying mountain. Mountains represent major governments. Okay, so Babylon, America is regarded as a destroying mountain. Okay, America is responsible for destroying the world, man. Keep going.
"Which destroyeth all the earth."
See, boom. Keep going.
That right there, that gives you clarity as to who this is speaking of, because the scriptures speak about how Esau would have the fatness of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for him to be able to destroy all the earth, that shows you that would be Esau.
So,
It says, "And I will stretch out mine hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks and will make thee a burnt mountain."
yeah, see, the Lord's going to turn Babylon, the destroying mountain, into a burnt mountain, and that's going to happen via nuclear destruction, World War III.
Yep.
That's how this place is going to go out. But see, right now, because the icing on the cake is nuclear war, right? But right now, what's happening within America internally? Okay, America internally is breaking down. Okay, economically, morally. All right, civil war, civil unrest, people don't trust the government, all of that shit. Violence is the norm here now. You see? Until this place goes down with the ultimate form of violence. You got it out.
I want to get a precept, and I have 2 quotes just to add to the spirit. So this is Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 4. It says, "But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword." And you can, go using this to talk about Babylon's end. Because as we're seeing, all right, that corrosion that is destroying this place from the inside out, man. These American people, all right, they're pretty much, in a state of lamenting and languishing because they see their country, pretty much going to shit. So, like I said, these Edomites know that this judgment is about to befall them. This is why they're trying to, shift the blame and put everything on Jake. So, I got 2 quotes from 2 former presidents. So first, this is Thomas Jefferson. He says, "I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever, that considering numbers, nature, and natural means only, a revolution of the wheel of fortune and exchange of a situation is among possible events that it may become probable by supernatural interference. The Almighty has no attribute which can take side with us in such a contest." So Jefferson knew that judgment was going to befall, the Edomites, all right, because these devils all, are in the know as far as what the Lord is about to do to their nation, all right. Now you have John F. Kennedy, who said this. He said, "But suppose God is black. What if we go to heaven and we all our lives have treated the Negro as an inferior, and God is there, and we look up and he is not white? What then is our response?" All right. So these thoughts are in the back of these devils' head, all of them, from the elites all the way down to the least of the Edomites, the Joe Sixpacks, man. They know that they're gonna pay for what they've done to the tribes, man. Not just Judah, but all the tribes, man. All right. because they know that the Most High is
That's right.
is coming back to bring judgment. All right, and as we continue to come out here and bring these judgments out, man, this is what's causing these Edomites to lose sleep, man. Because as you always say, man, in the back of their mind, they're wondering what if they're right, and what they're starting to see is they know we're right.
That's right.
That's why James 19 says that, man.
That's it.
All right, thou knowest that there is one God, thou do as well. The devils also believe and tremble. These devils are terrified, man, because they've sensed that judgment is coming, man.
That's it. There's nothing they can do.
Hey, that's why the scriptures say their bellies shall not know quietness, man.
Yep.
So they got the bubble guts right now. Right? You know, they nervous, man.
Yeah.
That's it. You got that scripture in Revelation. Read Revelation 18 and start at 19 and read down to 21.
I got you.
Matter of fact, you finish up the chapter. Finish up the chapter from there, and that'd be it, man. You know.
Con. Revelation 18 and 19. It says, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate.
Yeah, 1 hour. 1 hour is what it's all going to take for the Lord to make Babylon, America, completely desolate, to destroy it off the face of the earth. That's all it's going to take is 1 hour. Go ahead.
Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua have avenged you on her.
See that? Yahweh Hashem Yahushua have avenged you on her. This is the vengeance of the Lord's temple. Okay? All these things that are happening throughout Babylon right now, the breakdown, the violent ending is the vengeance for his people. And this also proves that where it says you holy apostles and prophets, this proves that the prophets, the true prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua are back now in the reincarnation here in America, here in Babylon. See that? So the prophets are here. Keep going.
I want to add, it's a precept that said the Lord is doing this for the controversy of Zion. Just added to what you just said, because the Lord is doing all this for our benefit, even though Jake may not see it like that.
That's right.
All right. Verse 21, Revelation 18 and 21. And took a mighty angel, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all.
Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. All right, and that great millstone is tied to the ICBM nuclear missiles, man. Okay, those warheads that are going to come down and melt this place. Keep going.
And the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman or whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for all thy merchants were for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, and by thy sorceries were all nations deceived.
Yep, all nations were deceived by the witchcraft and sorceries that come out of Babylon, man. You know, it tells you that in Isaiah 47 as well. You know, stand with thy enchantments and the great multitude of thy sorceries, man. You know, keep going.
And in her was found the blood of the prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth.
Yeah, so again, the Lord is going to vindicate, avenge his people for what America, Babylon the Great has done. All right. So again, as we were just reading in that headline before we close this out. All right, let me pull it back up. Okay, the American dream, the American dream is ending in a psychotic breakdown, man. All right, this is prophecy. Okay, this place is going to go out with a violent and chaotic ending, man. All right, so these Edomites are finished, man. So the point again, no matter how much bullshit they try to talk and all of that, they can't deflect from the judgment, man. So again, blaming Jake and shifting the narrative will not default his judgment, man. He can't escape. Okay, he's exposed and finished. Right? You guys got any closing words?
Nah, that was it.
That's it, man. So yeah, we'll leave it like that. Hey, we hour and 34 minutes in. So hey, we pray that you sincere believers out there, you brothers and sisters that tuned into this video, were edified. We're gonna close it out by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught us the truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. And with that, hey, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Hey, the water Akim, that was fire.